right, so it is Tuesday, May 3rd, just after the conclusion of Game 1 between the Florida Panthers and the Washington Capitals. And, well, as you can see by the title, the Panthers did lose 4-2 to the Capitals. A late empty net goal by Lars Eller sealed the deal for the Caps. But, yeah, Florida did not look like they came to play today. I'm joined with Shane Marinelli and Jamie Goldman from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. And coming into the game, we had a couple keys for the Panthers, so they had to stay out of the box. They didn't. We said they had to bring it to the Capitals from the moment the puck dropped. They didn't. They were able to take a lead, and then one bad turnover leads to a goal, which leads to just a collapse. And it just, even minus the empty net goal and the 1-goal game for that third period, it didn't look like a Florida Panthers performance from what we saw all season. So, Shane, take it away. What did you think?
Well, the Caps the most frustrating part is there's just the lack of possession. They just couldn't win. They weren't winning. It just seemed like anytime we had an offensive rush, it was one shot and done, right? It seemed like so many passes were just slightly off. I mentioned that breakaway with Barkov and Huberdeau, and you don't see, it was kind of mishandled. You don't see that between those two. But the frustrating thing is there was kind of really no adjustments from it all night. I said this earlier, and I'm just so tired of the one move. It's like, oh, we're not really scoring. Let's go Barkov, Huberdeau. It seemed like every line was kind of going for a couple different things. At least the third line was kind of dumping and running, but it seemed like when Barkov and stuff was out there, it's like, just skated into 4 defenders. I mean, Washington was just sitting back. They'd let us skate it in the blue line, and they would just poke the puck away.
Yeah, it seemed like Washington, you get into the zone, but they kind of they collapsed back and just sent guys to the puck carrier, and Florida wasn't able to possess the puck. Now, yeah, they got 32 shots or whatever. That doesn't really matter on the scoreboard. But in terms of offensive possession and zone possession, it just didn't seem like they had it. Now, through the second period, there was a couple instances where they got a couple chances off the rush. Obviously, we saw that Sam Bennett score at the end of the first period off the rush. Carter Verhaeghe had a chance off the rush. There was a couple nice transition opportunities in the second. But I don't know. The best player for me was probably Mason Marchman, just because he brought a lot of physicality and he helped draw a penalty. But I really don't think, besides maybe Bob through the first 2 periods, there was a standout player for me in this game for the Panthers.
Yeah, I think Bob was definitely the Panthers' best player tonight. And right from the get-go, the Capitals controlled the game. Right off the bat, you had the Gudas high sticking penalty, and then seconds later, you had a Uyghur delay a game penalty, put the Panthers on the 5-on-3 right out the gates. And then towards the end of that power play, I don't know if it was officially listed as a power play goal or not, but in my mind, it was a power play goal. The Capitals went up 1-0, and that just set the tone for the whole game. The Panthers were playing from behind, and we talked about this in our previous streams. Come playoff time, and now we're here. The Panthers can't be getting themselves those holes, and we saw it tonight. They went down 1-0, and it resulted in a very choppy game. I thought the Panthers came out, and they looked very tight. The Capitals controlled possession of the puck. They had more shots on goal than the Panthers, and it resulted in a Capitals win.
I mean, it's just, we've talked about it all season. Mistakes don't help this team. The turnovers in the neutral zone are killer. And yeah, that should have been an icing, but what happened after had nothing to do with the icing. Uyghur had clear opportunity to make a play on the puck. And this isn't the first time he turned the puck over today's game. It's also not the first time Mackenzie Uyghur's turned over the puck in the neutral zone as the last man back.
He shouldn't play.
It led to
He's
the
more of a
Capitals'
liability at this point. I don't even see why Bruno skates him out there. And I wish the
I
reporter
don't know
would be
if
like,
go that far.
no, why?
I do.
Why? He's worth a bad turnover and vastly out of position at least 2-3 times a game. I don't know, a little bit of speed. I'd rather just put flag out there. Some of that's just going to hit and be safe at this point. I think Uyghur's he's Yandel at this point.
I don't know if I'd go as far as taking him out of the lineup, but I don't think he should be seeing the minutes he should be seeing, especially with the way that Forsling's been playing and the way that they're playing. I think Forsling and Montour have both looked way better than Uyghur. And if I'm Coach Brunette, I give Montour and Forsling more minutes, and I take minutes away from Uyghur.
I mean, I thought Ben Sherrod physically just looked pretty dominant out there, at least clearing the front of the net in terms of the rebounds. I don't necessarily know if anything of I don't know what Mackenzie Weegar did today that was great, if good, in this game. Because I saw the turnovers. I saw the missed shots. I saw the shots hit the pads. And I wouldn't take him out of the lineup, but I also agree that he's not the second or third best defenseman in terms of play for today. Like, you can't, in a playoff game, if you're not playing like a top four, you can't be playing top 4 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, he looked. Go ahead.
No, like, just to move on to the next point, because we already talked about Weegar enough. There was no creation of the offense. I mean, yeah, there was a couple chances. We saw the Huberto 2-on-0 or 2-on-1 where he flipped the puck over and it couldn't hit Barkov's stick. But Washington was collapsing pretty well in that offensive zone, and I think that they sunk back, and Florida just really couldn't generate anything.
It was an ugly performance from Florida. They couldn't get anything going. Washington looked like they had better preparation for this game. Florida, and they couldn't really get anything going, have much creativity in the offensive zone. It looked very stagnant. It looked every time they got in there, they would turn it over and Washington would come the other way. It didn't look like the Florida Panthers that we're used to seeing in this regular season by any means. Capitals controlled possession the whole night.
And it's playoff hockey too. So the teams aren't going to let you walk all over them. And I don't know if Florida thought they would come in and walk all over the opposition. Now, I'm going to assume they didn't, because they know that you're not going to win the playoffs like that. And they played in the playoffs last year, and they saw how close these games can be. But there was just nothing going for them anywhere.
Yeah, but they depended on just turning on the switch again,
which they couldn't tonight. There was no switch.
There's no switch in hockey. The switch is on from the get-go. And yeah, this isn't the New Jersey Devils at noon on a Saturday where you're just like, okay, let's go. And I think some of that mentality might have hurt them. It's too much. I saw just Barkov maybe trying to do too much, just trying, like you said, they would just skate it in. Maybe get to a little bit more just kind of old school forechecking hockey, but sometimes they try and make, we've complained about this on the power play during the regular season. They try and make the perfect pass sometimes, the perfect play. It seemed like even with their shots, they just never, it was either deflected or they never got it clean on the stick. It was always just kind of inch of a way of just being a clean pass or shot. And they really didn't have many good opportunities. Now I'm just worried is, what if Bob has an off game too?
Yeah, well, the thing is, if it wasn't I feel like if it wasn't for Bob's first 2 periods, it could have been 6-2. So, like, if you don't get a Bob performance like that, it could have been a runaway game at that point.
Trying to spin it in a positive light, I'm glad that this performance happened in game 1, because if anything, this could be a wake-up call to the team and saying, hey, letting walk on us and get down early, like, it's not going to work in the playoffs. And like Shane mentioned, you can't flip the switch, especially not come playoff time. They got to be ready to go from the get-go. I talked about that a little bit in the pregame show, me and Alex. We were talking about how important the fast start was, and they came out and they got 2 penalties within a couple of minutes, and that's the opposite of a fast start. They went down 1-0, and it cost them.
Well, yeah, it's hard to play good hockey when you're sitting in the box. And yeah, as this comment says, scoreboard doesn't tell the whole story of this game. Yeah, it was 3-2 until that empty netter. The Florida Panthers easily could have tied that game up at the end, because they've done it so many times.
You know what, though?
But they did beat the hell out of them in every single way, I think.
I don't know. I even felt when we were up 2-1 kind of early in the third period, and I was thinking about, you always see that, kind of the who should have won graphic.
Meter,
There's been games where Florida's lost.
Winometer.
Yeah, it's like, and I just felt like Washington was outplaying us all night. I mean, when when we were up 2-1, I felt like we were down. It just felt like that kind of cheap goal was coming. I felt it. you knew once a couple rushes didn't work, they were going to get that cheap one, and then they ended up, getting two back to back. And then after the whole icy no call, and I think fans are already frustrated with some of the officiating, um, earlier throughout the game.
Yeah.
It obviously did not go our way tonight. Man, it felt like Tampa game one last year, where you had the lead, you get a call that doesn't go your way, they tie it, and the air just gets sucked out, and they come right back. And it's like, has this team
That
not learned
Uyghur
anything?
turnover, lets it go suck the air out of the building. And in terms of physicality, I mean, it was a physical game. Florida had 56 hits, Washington had 43. But the only thing that I say that Florida brought to Washington today was the physicality, because bodies were flying. So, yeah, it's going to turn. The physicality is going to turn up. You saw at the end, Horny was trying to get something going, just sending a quick message or something. So the physicality is going to be there next game. There's no question about it. Every playoff game is going to be physical like this. Otherwise, you're going to get run out of the building. But it's not making stupid mistakes defensively and pushing your offense, controlling tempo, and not letting a team that's not a better team. Because Washington's not a faster team than the Panthers. Even the experience, the Panthers added so many guys that have so much experience in the playoffs at this point. And then you would want your superstars to show up. I don't even know if it's the experience. It's just, can they do it now? Like, can they put it all together in the playoffs?
Yeah, game 2 is going to be a real test now, because the difference between going to tied 1-1 and down 2-0, I think is a world of difference. You're going to Washington down 2-0 in Ovi's house. That's a recipe for disaster.
They've been terrible at home. Washington has been good on the road this year, which is the one weird thing, but still no excuse. Washington is a below average defensive team, and we couldn't possess the
And
puck.
Vanacek's rebound control was not good today. It wasn't. There were so many times. If Florida put an extra body in front of there's probably a goal or two opportunities sitting there on the crease, because I don't know, Vanacek made some saves, but it wasn't crazy cross crease saves like Bob was having to make today. The puck hit him, it dropped. We saw in the Giroux goal, he makes the shoulder save. The puck flies about 7 feet out, and Giroux gets the rebound. I don't like. You got to get some. You got to crash the net at that point.
Yeah, it's just there was a couple things kind of coming into this game. He did have a good kind of 3-minute stretch. Actually, it was right before, probably the best I've seen him play in a few weeks, before they tied the game, was Duclair. But man, do a lot of pucks die on his stick. Sometimes in the offensive zone. I thought Low-Steve was a bright spot tonight.
Yeah,
He had a
I
really
agree.
good chance. Marsh Smith, like you said, but I don't know. There's too many guys that were just been flat cold, didn't provide anything tonight.
I think the Panthers are going to need more from their big horses. Huberdeau and Barkov tonight, they played okay, but they weren't like their usual selves. They weren't dominating the game. They weren't controlling the puck like they usually do. I think in game 2, it's going to be huge for the Panthers' main horses, Huberdeau, Barkov, Verhaeghe, to come out and show their worth in game 2. It's going to be so critical.
Well, I think Lomberg had on that fourth line, they had to give him a couple extra shifts just because Lomberg, the speed was backtrack, even on the back check, was helping Florida. I remember one instance where the defensemen were about to get burnt, and Lomberg took the puck away. It wasn't going to get noticed because nothing happened out of it. But if Lomberg wasn't there, it was another breakaway. It's the bottom 6 guys that are kind of pushing it more for me today. Marchment, Lister, and Lomberg. Even Horny get in the mix every once in a while. But yeah, you're going to need the big guys to come out and play in this 7-game series. And it's extremely important to tie this series up 1-1 and not go down 0-2 and completely lose your home ice advantage.
From a X's and O's standpoint, I'm curious, do you know a little bit more on this? What would you like to see the Panthers kind of do to kind of counteract? Washington's obviously they were fine with just sitting back and waiting for us to make some mistakes. would you like to just see us maybe? I understand we're a speed team and we just want to get out and run, but there's no point to get out and run when you're kind of almost like seeing a prevent defense. I mean, that's what they were doing. They were not going to let us run. They were going to make us possess the puck. Do you think we should just get back to maybe a little bit more of an old school forecheck game? And
Well, they had when the gaps were open, then they exposed the transition game, and we saw the Barkov stretch pass, we saw Duclair rush, we saw the Verhaeghe rush, the Bennett rush. That works when you have the space. But when Washington's not giving you the space, they're letting you walk in and they're clogging the middle of the ice, and they're sending 4 guys in the middle of the ice, almost like it's a penalty kill box on even strength. Shoot the puck. Shoot the puck on net, because they're giving you the space to enter the zone and crash the net. You don't even have to dump the puck in at that point, because it's not like they're clogging the blue line. You dump the puck when they clog the blue line, you can't generate anything in the zone. You get in the zone, shoot the puck on net.
Yeah, I definitely think the Panthers need more shots, like you mentioned, Alex. They had 33, I think, tonight, but that's a solid number, but not for the Panthers. If you look at what they've done this season, in a majority of their games, they're getting 35, 40 shots in their games, and we didn't really see that tonight. Also, you kind of mentioned it earlier, after you shoot the puck, you got to crash the net. You saw Giroux score that second goal on a rebound. I think it was on the Montour shot, and playoff hockey, that's how a majority of goals are going to be scored. It's not going to be pretty, although Bennett had a nice snipe in the first period, but that's not going to happen often in the playoffs. The majority of goals in the playoffs are going to come in front of the net, off rebounds, off a stick, off a tip, off a rebound, something, deflection. I think they need to simplify things, get pucks to the net, crash the net.
Another thing is, the officiating was kind of off today, in terms of there was definitely some chance that it should have been a power play. But when you get on the power play, I mean, you can't be too cute with it. You just got to get the puck to the net at some points. Maybe run an umbrella, put 1 or 2 guys down there. That worked for a large part of the season, where you had Reinhardt sitting there in the umbrella formation. And then you got Ekblad back. Ekblad has the bomb. The Leafs did it yesterday with Austin Matthews. 1-2 down low umbrella, feed Matthews, shoot the puck on net, and it goes in. I mean, you got to do something. You got to generate something. That's how you create your offense.
Power play's had its up and downs all year, though, and I don't expect it to be fixed. I mean, listen, I just worry with this deep run in this team we have. Do we have? I don't like having an interim head coach right now. A first year interim head coach, it's not ideal. I know. We won 58 games, blah blah blah, but man, we're going to need some serious adjustments at some point, and I haven't really seen the power play fixed. I understand we didn't have Ekblad for a while, our normal kind of point guard on it, but the 5-4 powered play was frustrating as all could be at times. I mean, could Bruno make the adjustments? Right now, I just don't the mistakes we're seeing right now are the mistakes we kind of saw all regular season. But we were just like, yeah, well, our offense will make up with it, which again is fine versus some of the teams you're playing and during the regular season. You need a little bit more than that right now.
See, look, I'll let Jamie jump in right after, but what I think in terms of line adjustments made on the fly, Bruno has done that a lot of the season. I've seen it even today with the defense pairings. He was trying to switch it up, but you also, if Uyghur isn't doing it, if Uyghur's turning it over, you got to bench him. And I need to see what they do next game. I need to see, what they bring, whether that's a new game plan, because clearly something was up today. Washington kind of counteracted everything. So this is when you're like, all right, well, if you're not going to let us do what we need to do, we're going to find out where your weakness is. I mean, we can talk positives. Claude Giroux got his first goal. Aaron Ekblad's back. Sergei Bobrovsky looked like a playoff goaltender today. He was by far the better goalie.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking positives, the biggest positive of the night was definitely the performance of Sergei Bobrovsky from a Panthers perspective. Another positive, I keep reiterating this. I'm glad it happened in Game 1. I'm glad the Capitals came out and punched us in the mouth in Game 1, because this is going to have to be a wake-up call for the Panthers, and especially head coach Andrew Brunette. He's going to have to hit the drawing board tomorrow in practice and and figure out a way to counter the trap that the Capitals put on the Panthers tonight, because clearly what the Panthers were doing tonight wasn't working. And it's going to be a true test for Brunette and the Panthers to see how they can come back after a disappointing performance like this one.
No, yeah, you could say that, but I don't. My thing is I was expecting this team, especially the way they skated off the ice versus Tampa last night, and Huberdeau in tears, and they come back and they get to this point again. They should have looked like the Leafs the other night, who looked like a team that was like, and Panthers and the Leafs in a lot of ways are very similar, where they've just been kind of cursed in playoff series for both long times. One team looked like they thought they were going to score 5 goals. The Leafs looked like a team on a mission. We didn't look like a team on a mission the other night tonight. Like I still don't get that with this team. It's like, man, we should have came out here and just rolled this team.
The Cats definitely came out flat. They came out flat. I keep saying it. They came out tight. They came out flat. Washington came firing. They scored that power play goal early, and that set the tone. That set the tone right from that point. The Panthers didn't look sharp, and the Capitals kept controlling the puck. They played very well defensively. They didn't let the Panthers get a lot going in the offensive zone, and it's going to be huge for the Panthers to see how they come back. Shane, to your point, Burnett's an interim head coach. If the Panthers get bounced in this first round, I can't see the Panthers bringing him back next season. I can't. So this is his test right now.
Well, look, like you said, the Panthers got to go back to the drawing board right now. And these players, they come in, they've been riding high. They've been the President's Trophy champions. The banners are all over the city. I mean, that building was packed. It was rocking. I've never seen it that packed before. And they came out flat. This isn't what the fans wanted. The fans came to see their dominant Panthers team roll out. Now, it's the playoffs. They're not going to be able to roll out every game, but you got to come back next game. And as that comment says, iron sharpens iron. The fire needs to be burning going forward. And who do we like taking shots and scoring goals? Whoever can put the puck in the back of the net, honestly. Because if your 40-goal scorer is not going to do it, your 5-goal scorer better. Because it's playoff hockey. And anything goes today. Well, what do you think needs to be done next game? I mean, as we talked about, Capitals played a trap. Florida couldn't really possess. They tried in the beginning of the first period, kind of see in the offensive zone. They were trying to make the spins. They were trying to make the cross-ice passes, stuff like that. And, yeah, so I think Caitlin's coming on any second now. But, Jamie, what do you think's got to happen next game?
I think one big thing for the Panthers, they're going to have to simplify their game. I think they were trying to be a little bit too cute tonight. Like I mentioned earlier, get pucks to the net. That guy's crashing the net. And just play simpler. You don't have anything. No need to force skating into the zone. Put that thing deep. Go get it. The Panthers are a speedy team. They're a fast team. They got a lot of firepower. Get that puck deep. Go get it. And then go to work in the offensive zone. I mean, the way they look tonight, it was so stagnant. They just stepped slow. They look tight. I think in 2, they need to simplify things. They need to come out and they need to come out play. They can't come out taking penalties early in the game, getting themselves in that hole. It's about a strong start, and it's about simplifying your game.
Are we still confident to win the series?
I'm still confident the Panthers win the series.
I'm not. I'm feeling the franchise demons creep in, and now I'm just getting to this point where it's like, yeah, maybe all those things we were kind of arguing in our head about comeback Cats keep falling down. Oh, the power play looked bad at times. It's like, yeah, you know what? All those things were kind of real, and guess what? Playoffs are here. They're going to bite us. And until I kind of see otherwise, I'm just, especially after tonight, I've kind of lost all confidence, especially with the history of this franchise.
So Caitlin Daly was at the game today. As you can see, she is still there on the scene. Well, first of all, welcome, Caitlin, and just, kind of being in the environment. What do you think fell short for the Panthers today?
the way they came out in the third, I mean, we saw it's like the start of the second and the start of the third were like two completely different games, honestly. I don't know what happened there. And I just got back from the press conference. It sounded like no one on the team really knew what happened there, but they're all on the same page, have the mindset that this is a valuable, teachable moment. And Sam Bennett said that there is not an ounce of panic in the locker room, despite what happened tonight. So I'll be interested to see if there is a practice. I'll be there tomorrow, but I'll be interested to see, what changes in the next 48 hours, because that was just not the ending that any of us here in this arena saw happening tonight.
And I don't know about you, but I think the defense is going to stay the same next game. It's obviously going to be Bob. Do you think a new guy comes in on that fourth line or something? Maybe they take Hornqvist out, they put Achari in. Or Mammon or someone, or do you think they're a forward group?
Maybe Mammon. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see. I think that the guys just didn't have that fire in them tonight. So I don't know. Bruno made it seem like he wasn't going to make a lot of changes and that this was more of just an energy level that they had to adjust, but it'll be interesting to see. I feel like from their top producers, typically we didn't see a lot of action either. The reffing, I'm sure you guys have gone into that. But there were a lot of missed calls. But I just didn't see that chemistry from, Barkov and Huberdeau and Giroux like we normally see tonight. I really like Verhaeghe's game tonight. I thought he was very tenacious with the puck, had a lot of energy, had a couple good breakaways, although they didn't produce. So there's
probably had the best transition chance that didn't go in too.
Yeah, and everyone was amped. I tweeted. The PR just told me that I think it was 19,700 or 678 people in attendance tonight, but it was so loud and the fans were so into it. I saw a fan with a sweater of Hornqvist's face that said Miso Hornqvist. It was kind of nice to see like little things like that with I thought that was hilarious, but with, all the fans getting really into it, you wouldn't have, I was here last year for game 5 and two completely different environments. So hopefully the team taps into that to get him a victory on Thursday.
And in terms of Bobrovsky's performance compared to last year, just with the goaltender situation, are you more confident in this series just because of the play of him today?
Yes, absolutely. I've said I think that the Panthers are going to take it in 5, but I think that tonight, a little adversity in the beginning is never a bad thing. I guess the Comeback Cats are really taking it full send with that name for this, but I think that Bob's confidence this year it's like a totally different Bob than last year. And I think he's a good role model for those younger tenders that we have. But I think that, with the opportunities Washington had and the very crucial saves that Bob made tonight, this could have been a much bigger spread of a game. So I have a lot more confidence now.
Yeah, and in terms of not seeing this team since November, it's the playoffs. You just got to kind of be ready for everyone, in my opinion. Go ahead, Shane.
One more quote thing. I just saw this on Twitter. Someone noted that, obviously we out-hit them, which on paper seems good. But someone pointed out in the same that maybe we shouldn't hit them as much, that it slows down the game. Like, let's play our game. And let's, we were kind of going long passes. Let's get to shorter passes. Don't hit as much. Don't try and slow down the game. It's almost like we kind of tried to not saying we shouldn't be physical. It's playoff hockey, but let's play our game.
At the beginning of the game,
I just thought it was an interesting point.
I think Florida was kind of like a train off the tracks at the beginning of the game, and they were just kind of trying to run them through the glass, and then they kind of calmed down while keeping the physical play up. I think you're still going to have to be physical. throughout the whole series. If you watch the Toronto game yesterday, Toronto was up 5-0, and they were still not letting Tampa push them around. So, yeah, in certain situations, maybe go for the poke check over, go for the hit. If you're in the corner, you still got to throw the body or something.
I'll see it tomorrow or the next day.
All right, guys.
Yeah, I don't want to completely stop playing the body, but
Thanks,
build
Shane.
off what Shane was saying. It seemed like the Panthers were kind of playing to the Capitals level when the Capitals should be playing up to the Panthers level. The Panthers are favored in this series. They should be playing their game. They shouldn't be trying new things. I think a lot of what happened tonight was playoffs. Like, everyone was so juiced up. Like, they were ramping it up for so long, and it just kind of came out flat, and they didn't really play their game, and they let the festivity hype kind of get to their heads a little bit, and they didn't perform like they originally intended. But I think this was kind of a feeling out process, game one, and I think game two is going to be a completely different story.
I full on retweet with that. It was just kind of the first 10 minutes of the game was very messy and confusing for everyone up here. It was just no one had any follow through. There just wasn't not good enough execution, good enough puck control. I think that it'll be a very different game on Thursday.
I don't know if Manny wants to talk about the Vuvuzelas or if he wants to talk about something else, but
Vuvuzelas, I don't know, man. Where to begin? Wasn't the first 2 minutes that we would have wanted, obviously. You had basically a delay game penalty, but before that you had a holding penalty or something.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, you're on to a 5-on-3. You had an opportunity to kill that off, which you did, and then you end up getting scored on the 5-on-4. But you wanted them to come out of that with a little bit of some offensive pressure, which it did occur. But I think what we learned tonight was that even though this Capitals team is, I believe, the oldest team in the playoffs, there comes a time when you have a coach that's been to 3 Stanley Cup finals, has won one of them, and this team still has lots of vets that know how to play small. And by small, I mean, let's clog the neutral zone, let's contain the forecheck, because that's what the Panthers basically had nothing on the night. They had no forecheck whatsoever. And I think what might have been the difference for them is if they would have been able to capitalize on those power plays. But those power plays had basically no shot of any scary chances. Like, I can't even remember one. And if it wasn't for Bob stepping up in the first 5 to 10 minutes, I think, Alex, you said it. Like, the score could have been 6-2. 5-2. Who knows what
I mean, like Bob was just to jump in, Bob was squaring up on all these shots, and he was challenging the shooters. I mean, Alex Ovechkin toe dragging your defenseman, and then right on the hash marks, staring at you dead in the eye, and you square him up like that. I mean, Bob's probably seen a lot of Ovechkin, just them two both being from Russia, and that connection, and Kuznetsov too. He was squaring them up when they were trying to come in through the transition. Now, obviously, those breakaways are there was no help there, but in terms of just kind of staying on his game, I think Bob was able to square up and do what he had to do.
Yeah, but you can kind of feel and know, and you kind of already see it. This is the playoffs, right? In a 2-2 game, like you basically get scored on they tie the game up because that turnover by Uyghur, it feels like it was either Matheson from a couple of years back.
Well, that's not also the first time that Uyghur's done the exact same play in the last month or something, because I know he did the exact same thing a couple games ago before the regular season was over.
But my point is that here's a future Hall of Famer who just does a little play. Right? I mean, his shot today was unbelievable from the blue line. Like, half the time I'm here just seeing it, and it's like, Jesus, it goes so fast down the net. But he creates that poke check opportunity. They go ahead and they score. So now you're down you're basically at 2-2. There was no point in the third period, though, where you were waiting for that offensive surge. You were waiting for the puck to get dumped for you to get it going. And it just seemed like whatever the Capitals did, man, they had an answer to play small, just dump it back out and let the Panthers create all those basically not create anything overall. But again, a lot of talk is going to be on Uyghur, but I think offensively, you can't just be scoring 2 goals and just saying, let's just, not create any more offensive pressure because, this team has that experience of winning the cup. And not to mention, they're just, they're no pushover. Now, on the bright side, though, they had no Tom Wilson in the third period, right? You would think physicality, you would have been able to do a little bit more going forward, but that was non-existent. And I think we saw Johansson towards the end of the period as well go straight into the locker room. So who knows what's going to be going on with, those are two key guys for this team going forward. Not basically offensively, but just core-wise.
Well, Tom
really
Wilson was
need
their
those
second
guys.
best goal scorer all season too, and he
Tom
scored.
Wilson got him on the board.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, I gotta hop off if I'm gonna make it to practice tomorrow. But thank you for having me.
No problem.
I think we should wrap the show up anyway in the next minute or two. Huh? Been on here for about 40 minutes.
Yeah, let's get out of here. Let's sleep. Let's just sleep this off. Again, this playoff hockey is about adjustments, especially after game one when you're the losing team. Just see what they see on tape. I do expect this team that'll come out with a much more fire underneath them, but you can't have holding penalties in 30 seconds and then, Mackenzie Weegar had such an opening just to clear the puck, and he just throws it off into the stands, and that creates another 5-on-3, which you can't give this team anything. So, but it is what it is, guys. I mean, this does feel a little bit of a Debbie Downer because last year I remember the feeling after game one against Tampa, like we hurt ourselves by going into the box, right? And they capitalized on that, and we couldn't do anything. And then this time around, it just feels, it doesn't feel great because once again you lose at home, game one. But let's just see what happens for game two on Thursday.
Yep. So the Florida Panthers dropped game one, 4-2 to the Washington Capitals. The Capitals take a 1-0 series lead. Talked about 40 minutes of what we didn't like, what we kind of liked, what needs to be fixed. And we'll be back here on Thursday. I mean, me and Jamie, Manny, definitely be doing post game. Thank you to Shane and Caitlin for hopping on too. We had a full crew today. Wish it went out a little bit better, but as Jamie's been saying the whole stream, the good thing is this happens game one. And if it happens again game two, then we got a little bit more to worry about. But for now, you're only down 1-0. If you want to win in the playoffs, you got to win a lot more than one game. So Panthers need to hit the drawing board. Caitlin will be at practice, so you can follow her Twitter and see everything they're working on over there. And hopefully they're good to go on Thursday.
Yeah, game two. Thursday night, it's going to be a different story. They're going to hit the drawing board tomorrow. One game. I'm not worried. It was one game.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you guys next time. Let's say Thursday right before game time. We'll be back with a post game and a pregame show. We got press conferences and everything there on Fifth Line 5R. See you guys next time. Hopefully the Cats can tie it up and make it a 1-1 series.